What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now, Back to the Past. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to take a look at Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. This game released back in November 12th of 2020. Remember it like it was yesterday, and this was the big one when it came to the PS5, right? This is what they showed off when they, at the end of the PlayStation Showcase, they showed the PS5, they showed Ratchet and Clank, Horizon. The next PlayStation Showcase, they would then show a tease God of War Ragnarok, and this was honestly kind of surprising that Insomniac was even able to make a game like this in their studio, right? This is what I feel like kind of made them dominant over the gaming industry, where even if, there's problems with this game, we'll talk about it as it goes on, but churning out these games, right? You got Marvel Spider-Man, you have this, you have Spider-Man 2, you have the Wolverine game, they're working on a multiplayer game. This studio just delivers very high quality games much faster. The speed is so much quicker than most studios out there, and this was a good example of it, and this again was kind of that showcase of what the early days of PS5 could do. So, we were living in some uncertain times at the moment, I guess, and then this game came out, the PS5 came out, and this game's really good. It definitely is really good, and I think I appreciate it and like it for somewhat similar reasons, maybe a little bit different than what I did back when it released, and then there are still some weaknesses for sure. I would actually say, and I do want this to be a pretty big chunk of this video, we talked about some of the stuff that this game had improved upon. I think in some ways it did improve on, I guess, some of the stuff, but other stuff, I don't actually know if it took the steps forward that I remember it doing. When we talk about crimes and how it handled crimes, the way I remembered it is that it almost like completely solved the problem of crimes. That's not true. That's not true. The issue with crimes is just as prevalent in this game as it was in Marvel Spider-Man. So let's take a deep dive into this game. Again, it's a really good game. Obviously, it came out cheaper than what a full price game would be. Right now, you can get the game for $20. So now is about as good as it gets in terms of getting this game right before Marvel Spider-Man 2. And I will say, it feels really good to be back in the modern generation of Spider-Man, right? I played 2018 Spider-Man, then I did Spider-Man 2002, made a video on that one, and then I did this one next. And it just felt good to like hold the DualSense controller. It felt good to swing around, and the swinging does feel different, but everything, like the feel of it, oh my God, it felt so good to be back. We've definitely, achieved some stuff in the last 20 years that we didn't before then. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the story of this game. Pretty short, pretty sweet. I actually like the fact that it's so short. I mean, you go through this game, and I feel like you can get it done in probably 10 or less hours, and you can do a very good amount of the game in that time. Now, you have the complaints of, is that too short for a game? I think a good amount of it, I don't want to say all of it, a good amount of it is very, very high quality stuff, and so I feel like it's money well spent, it's time well spent in the game. Yes, there is some padding, and I still think that's a weakness that really needs to be addressed for the second game, and I'm sure I'll talk about that more on like my main channel through just like speculation videos. That needs to improve, but what this game has is a little bit of padding, not as much as Spider-Man, and it does have some very high quality stuff. So the story, Miles Morales, I think is a really good character. I like the voice actor a lot. Feels good to kind of embrace his story in this one, because you don't get too much of it, and I feel like I almost ignored his character more when I replayed 2018. Feel like I kind of pushed him aside. It really is Peter's story. MJ is a pretty big part of it as well, and Miles kind of gets thrown in just as like this third wheel about like, I don't know, 50-60% of the way through the game. This felt obviously a lot better, and it's a very personal tale, right, with Finn / the Tinkerer. And I guess I would say like the whole kind of like twist, the idea that Finn at any point was not the Tinkerer, is kind of hilarious. I remember when I played this game, and the fact that you find out so quickly between, I guess, starting to like place the dots or connect the dots in your head, right? You start to do it, and you start to say, well, they have like a very like feminine frame Tinkerer, and it's like, okay, the voice kind of sounds similar. It's going to be somebody kind of related to or in the circle of Miles, and then all of a sudden it happens. But from that point to when Tinkerer is revealed to be Finn is like 5 minutes. Like, you start to figure it out. You say, I think that's what they're doing, and I wonder how long they'll keep that secret from us. And then immediately they tell you. So I never liked it. I didn't like it the first time. I didn't like it the second time. I don't like it the third time. I've played this game now 3 times because I platinumed it, so you had to do the New Game Plus. I enjoyed the experience of platinuming this game. But besides the twist not really landing that twist, and I don't even know if it's intended to, I liked it. I liked the story overall. His mom, Miles' mom, is a pretty good character overall. Small, very small supporting cast, but quality characters. And, the arc that Miles goes on with Prowler, right, his uncle, with Tinkerer, I think is really, really solid. I think, again, it kind of just gets dragged down through some of the padding, some of the crime, some of the like the hideouts and the Prowler like match the music thing, which I want to rant about that later. But overall, I think the story is very, very solid. I do want to talk about the visuals real fast though. And again, it's not a tech test. I think there's probably other games that came out within the first year or so of the PS5 that's more of a tech test than this game was. But again, this was like that big one, the iconic trailer of kind of the electricity going down Miles's arm and then eventually reaching. The suit is moving, or you see the electricity going through the suit. That's what they kind of led with, the PlayStation Showcase, and it looks really good. I'll tell you that. I mean, playing the game at 3 years later, at this point, almost 3 years later, game looks really, really good. This time, like, close up, right? Like, Spider-Man 2018 is more of a product of looking at it far away, swinging throughout the city. It looks really good. But when you start to really like hyper analyze certain parts of it, then it starts to, the cracks start to show. Games can't look good, I guess, forever, especially these kind of games. With Miles, it's a game that, at least right now, 3 years in, right, looks very good from far back, looks very good from close up. So they nailed it there. They nailed the audio. They nailed the feel. It feels different. When I played 2018, again, I was still playing the PS4 version. Okay, I didn't play the remastered version. So the web swinging and the feature on the DualSense, it still wasn't there. But it is there for Miles. And it feels different. Honestly, it feels slower. When you're swinging, I feel like it's actually slower. And maybe that's by choice to swing slower as Miles. I don't know if that's statistically like proven that Miles swings slower than Peter, but it certainly feels like it. And, it takes a little bit like to get used to it. I think some of it's the technology. Some of it is a different feel with like holding R2 to be able to do it. I like his style, not to pull it was a GameSpot, the one that did the whole kind of quote when this game came out. I won't repeat the quote and we won't go too far down that thing, but Miles does feel different, okay? And I mean, this would go, I think, even into gameplay. He feels different. I assume on purpose. He moves different. Like literally his web swinging technique is different. Also his fighting style is different. It's different, and it's also not as heavy, I suppose is probably the right thing. Now, one thing that I was thinking, and I actually talked to my friend Sway about this, and he kind of opened my eyes up to it. I'm glad I did this. It takes more hits to hurt an enemy or to take out an enemy with Miles. It takes far more, right? For a generic goon, for Peter, it takes about like one kind of arc of hitting them, right? You only have to do it one time. And by the time you send them flying with kind of your finishing move of that arc, the person's knocked out. That's like a general enemy, right? It changes if they have the shield. It changes for different things. For Miles, it takes a lot more. And then when you start to get some of the beefier enemies in this game, it can take a very good amount of time to take out these enemies with Miles. Now, I don't love that, but I do appreciate the fact that these are different people. These are literally supposed to be different people, and they're supposed to be different fighting styles and different ways of handling it. Miles, you are really supposed to use your gadgets, right? Now, Peter has more gadgets. Miles, it's offset because of the Venom powers. So you're supposed to use the Venom powers a lot, whether it's punching, whether it's kind of like that leaping thing where you throw them, whether it's the slamming move. And you want to chain it. You want to hurt multiple of them at the same time. Once one gets hit, you want to hit that enemy into other enemies. And also, again, the gadgets, the gravity well, or the thing that kind of pulls them in. You have when you max it out, you have like 8 or 10 or whatever of like the normal web shots that'll stick them to a surface. You need to use it. And it's not even like me just saying it. Like, no, literally, when you're in like an arena and you're facing like 20 of these guys and they're throwing all these things at you, you need to be good at dodging. You need to be good at the gadgets, because just hitting square over and over and over, I mean, you can do it. And I did it for part of this game as well. But you really need to use the gadgets to be successful as Miles fighting. Again, on one hand, I don't like it. I mean, I will be pretty darn honest with that. Like, it was not nearly as fun to fight as Miles as it was Peter. Now, maybe it's because I played Spider-Man 2018 for like 35 hours. Again, I went to Spider-Man 2002, then I went to Miles. So at that point, maybe I'm like Spider-Man out, right? Like, I want to be fair to the game. I mean, I'd played 40, 45 hours up to that point. I'd played a lot of Peter, a lot of fighting. Maybe I didn't want to fight as much. And that is something that kind of came through. When I replayed this game again, right, I talked about the length of time. I managed to do a lot, but I didn't do everything. There's still hideouts that I don't think I touched actually one hideout. And I did, obviously, the first time I played, but not this time. And then that stupid music, the music matching the wavelength. Oh my, I hated that one so much. But I left maybe 7 of those ones that are still left, somewhere around that range. So I definitely didn't partake in a lot of the side things to do in Miles. And I think some of that was just kind of burnout. And then other things, it's just, I'm kind of done with it because it is padding. It is annoying. I didn't want to do it with Spider-Man. I don't want to really do it with Miles. We'll get there. But it's starting to seep through, right? Some of the weaknesses. But no, I mean, the game looks great. It sounds great. It does feel great overall. The combat is different. I don't think I had as much fun playing or like literally beating people up, but it is different. I think once you feel familiar with the gadgets and once you can do some pretty cool stuff, the Venom powers are really cool to see it, to feel it on the controller, to kind of see the reaction like as you start to hit enemies off of each other. There is a lot of cool factor there that makes you kind of want to replay, but all that stuff is pretty good. Again, even the web swinging itself, the game still has that very, very addictive vibe. It's got a very solid story. I want to go into the exterior stuff, which would include crimes and things like that. Let's start with the good. I think generally they improved the whole thing. Some more than others. I would say side missions, they also improved. I really felt a lot of the side missions, and there's not too many, but I did feel like the side missions in this game were very meaty and really felt like side missions. I think to like, what does a Red Dead Redemption side mission look like? What does a Witcher side mission look like? Maybe even Mass Effect, right? Like, what are some of these big side mission things? And it feels very like impactful. And in some ways it can't be that impactful, right? It's not an open world RPG game where your decisions have consequences, but these side missions do feel kind of big. They're not like bloated for the sake of being bloated. I felt maybe some of the side missions for Spider-Man 2018 felt like that. Not here. They are all very, very strong. They feel even like main missions. I guess that's kind of the vibe I kind of wanted to push through. I really like them. And again, improvements across the board, like the crimes being organized more, like on the phone. And it's based off of distance and kind of loads it in, and you don't have to do like 1,000. I think that's one thing they massively improved upon, right, is there's just less crimes. There's way less crimes in the entire thing. But now there's activities to do, which are like very, very mini missions, but they still are pretty okay. Then you have the side missions. They're the really beefy ones. Crimes, obviously, are crimes. And, then you have, I guess, in the main missions, which I didn't mention this for Spider-Man 2018. This, I would say, is kind of a negative. I never really like games introducing side things in the game through a main mission. I know that's a classic, like that's kind of like every game does it. I just don't like it. So, for example, I believe the backpack thing in 2018, that's a main mission. Like, you find a backpack, and then it tells you, oh, look, here's a side thing you can do in this game. Go look for backpacks. In this game, it's part of the arc of Miles with Prowler, or with his uncle, right, where he wants to get away. He wants to kind of clear his mind, or he doesn't know how, and the music thing is how. And that's a main mission. You have to do it once, and then it opens up where it's the side. I mean, again, like, I understand it. Like, it makes sense, and you're introducing a side thing through the main thing that you have to do. I get it. But at the same time, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of any of those things. No, the music thing is atrocious. I spent way too long trying to do it, and I did it the first time. Like, again, I platinumed the game, so I do believe you have to 100% it. So I did all the music matching. I did all the hideouts. Again, I didn't partake in any of that this time, but the music specifically, finding that stupid wavelength, I absolutely despise. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Maybe it's just me that was complaining about it or is complaining about it, but no, sir. Like, I will not accept that as a side thing ever again. Don't ever, and this is what I was saying for Spider-Man 2. I don't want the backpacks. I don't want 500 landmarks to take pictures of. I don't want to find pigeons anymore. I don't want to, match music. I don't want to do any of this stuff, right? Crimes. Okay, so again, I thought it was improved. I remember saying it in the past, and here we are, and I don't really know if it's all that improved. So there's less of them, they're organized better, and they're based off of distance, right? And you really only have to do kind of like one of each subcategory, like whatever, a cyber attack or a robbery or whatever. You only have to do one. At the same time, they're still just as non-impactful. There still are a lot. Like, although there's less and they're organized, there still feels like there's too much. Now, again, when you tie the upgrade, which this game does the same thing, right? You tie upgrades, you tie suits, you tie mods, you tie all this stuff, and you're tying it to activity tokens or, whatever they are. I think like research tokens were in 2018, activity tokens in this game. You have to do it. Like, in order to get some of those mods to 100% the game, or just find ones that you really like, or suits, or, or skill points. Now, skill points are just leveling up, right? I like that. You level up, you get a skill point, you put it in. That was actually better. I actually do like the skill tree that Miles has. It's very small, right? There's only 3 paths, and they unlock based off of levels. So if you're level 6, you just can't go too far in them, and you'll get those skill points through the leveling. You'll pick it, whatever you want, and you'll end it there. That's very clean. It's very easy to understand. It ties leveling with getting skill points to then purchasing and locking out ones that you can't even reach yet. I really like that. They just have to figure out a way, specifically in this next game, right? Spider-Man 2. They have to figure out a way of how do you give us 50 suits, however many suits there's going to be, 50 suits and all these gadgets and all these upgrades. How do you do that without making people have to do 50 landmark pictures and then 800 crime tokens that you have to do? Like, you have to kind of knock that stuff out. So you have to have a different currency, or just have to give us that currency in a different way. Those are things for the future. They were not great. They were not great in 2018. I think that was one of the biggest weaknesses. They're not great in this game. Now, a lot of the fluff beyond that was taken completely out, right? There's no, like, when you hack and stuff and you're trying to do the flow of energy, you don't do that. The light trick thing where you have to, the lines with light, you don't have to do that. Any of that Peter kind of scientific stuff, Miles does hacking like things, and he'll go up to the computer, right? You'll press triangle and he'll do it, but you won't do like a mini game. So I do feel right there was a sign that they know that people didn't like it. They knew it was annoying, and they took it out. There's still more to do. And again, it kind of haunts, I know this video specifically is talking about this game, Miles Morales. It still haunts the game a little bit. It's a really, I guess the best way to describe this game to end this video, very, very good core. It's a very strong core. It's a very strong game. And specifically right now, $20 to get this game. You can get 10 very quality hours. You can probably get many, many more. If you go for the platinum, you'll definitely get more, right? And it's solid. It's very, very good. And then as you start to go outside that core, then it starts to get a little weak, a little bit of padding stuff. But really, that kind of was 2018 as well. It still has those exterior things of web swinging is always fun. It did lose, I think, some of the fun with combat. I do not think combat is as fun, but definitely the web swing is just as good. You still feel it. It's still fun for to gain momentum and to do a jump and kind of chain that into the next thing. It never really gets old, and you can kind of do that forever, and you'll need to do that again to get from point A to point B and go around the city. So overall, I think they did a really good job. Again, this was another thing to kind of prove that Insomniac is capable of many of these games seemingly all at once. They can just, in their studio, they're working on 3 games at a time, and they're all going to be really, really solid, and that's at the absolute worst. At the best, they're game of the year kind of contenders, right? So let me know what you guys think of the game in the comments. Let me know of any other Spider-Man games. I don't know if we'll do any more before Spider-Man 2. I'm definitely open to it if you guys want to see something, maybe just Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3, back then, The Amazing Spider-Man. If there's any you want to see, leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next one.